George Floyd was murdered at the hands of the Minneapolis police 368 days ago. Tonight, we'll take a deep look at what has and has not changed since his death shocked the nation. But first, to today's breaking news. Just a few hours ago, Senate Republicans carried out their very first filibuster since President Biden was elected. They succeeded in blocking the creation of a bipartisan commission to investigate the Capitol insurrection. Senate Democrats condemned their actions. Here's Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer.
Shame on the Republican Party for trying to sweep the horrors of that day under the rug because they're afraid of Donald Trump.
Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, though, has consistently defended the position of most Republicans. Here's what he had to say.
I think this is a purely political exercise that adds nothing to the sum total of information.
Joining us tonight to talk about all of this are four reporters who have covered racial justice and politics for years. Trymaine Lee, correspondent for MSNBC and host of the Into America podcast. Sara Sidner, senior national correspondent for CNN. And joining us in studio, Wesley Lowery, correspondent for 60 Minutes Plus, and Ayesha Rascoe, White House correspondent for NPR. Thank you so much, all of you, for joining us. Ayesha, I want to start with you. Republicans, they took a bold, somewhat risky move here on this January 6th commission. What do we know about the risk that they're taking and going all in on President Trump and the way that he sees the party's direction? And what's President Biden and the White House thinking about all this?
Well, I think for Republicans, they feel like they don't have any other choice, and it doesn't seem like they have any other choice. They may want to move on from former President Trump, but their base doesn't. And they realize that and they recognize that. And this is the party of Trump. And so I think what you saw with this vote today is that they don't want to have a spotlight, a bipartisan spotlight on what happened, because that's going to be a spotlight on Trump and on his actions and what he said and what he did. And some of their things that they're saying about, oh, it would be redundant. Well, look, you had a 9/11 commission, and there were lots of investigations into that. You had, I don't know how many Benghazi commissions, or
So many.
You had a whole lot. They were partisan, obviously. But when has Congress not wanted to investigate something? And this was an attack on Congress. But what you see is that they're not willing to go along with something that would shine a light on this, especially in an election year. And they have bet that it would be in their best interest to just stand against everything. When it comes to the Biden administration, this can be another example where they say, look, we're trying to work with Congress. We're trying to get things done. We can't even get a commission to study this attack on the U.S. This is a domestic threat. We can't even get together on that. So when they start making the case that maybe on other issues we need to just move alone, this will be another thing they can point to.
And Sara, I want to come to you. Ayesha's talking about a domestic threat, and that is what this is. You've been on the ground talking to folks this week about conspiracy theories and QAnon. What does your reporting tell you about who Republicans are trying to ultimately appease here and the danger that presents to our country?
You know, what we have seen now is that QAnon, this outlandish conspiracy theory that there is a cabal of shadowy forces that are in government, in media, in Hollywood, that are literally sex trafficking children so that they can harvest them, drink their blood, and eat babies. I mean, that literally is this part of this QAnon conspiracy. That, and people with those sorts of sentiments, are getting into politics. Not just the Marjorie Taylor Greenes. She is not an anomaly. And that's something that this country is going to have to reckon with, because we are now seeing it in state houses and in local government, on city councils, on school boards, people who have espoused some of these tenets of this QAnon conspiracy. And what I think that I have learned over the course of time since January 6th, and even prior to that, but since January 6th, a lot of people thought that it would go away. It's growing. It's just at the beginning, not at the end. And that is what we are seeing. We're seeing a resurgence of this madness of people believing that, okay, what happened then on January 6th was a result of the deep state stopping President Trump from being able to become president and clear out all these evil people. So what they think, now the Stop the Steal movement, is joining up with the QAnoners, and this is turning into a real problem for this country, because if you cannot rationalize, and if you are not basing things that you are voting for on fact, and if you are trying to make it an evil versus good, we're in huge trouble.